Hello.
Hey there.
Oh, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. How are you, Sukhavati?
Good. Here is a special day in Bali, it's Kuningan. So it's the end of long celebration.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, energy is different today for sure.
Can you teach me a Balinese greeting, like how we would greet each other?
I think the most common way is just saying pagi,
Bye.
pagi, yeah. And a more formal way will be like Om Swastiastu, which is like more like Om Namah Shivaya,
Om
like Om Swastiastu.
Swastiastu.
Yeah.
Swastiastu. What about Salamat? What is that Salamat?
Salaman Pagi, that's good morning.
Salamat Pagi. Okay. So Salamat Pagi to you then.
Yes, and for you it's in the night, which I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. And thank you. How would be thank you?
makasih, terima kasih.
Makasi? Makasi. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful to see you again.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm happy you're here. I felt we are both magicians. We use the words as medicine. I use
Ooh.
language and you use poetry.
Uh,
So then I felt, that's the connection.
Language as medicine. Language as medicine. Do you feel you've always been doing that?
Hmm, I don't know. What about you? When did you start doing this poetry, sharing these words?
Yeah.
When
Great
did it happen?
question. Great question. When I was I think I can recall at least back to middle school. Yeah, middle school. So when I was in middle school, this was like maybe between fifth and seventh grade. So like fifth and sixth, seventh, like those type of grades. Um, I had a teacher, and this teacher, she was an English teacher, and we did English, but we also read and we read stories. And then there was one segment where she had us write poetry. She had us just write. It was free writing, stream of consciousness, whatever you wanted to write. She let all the students in the class just go crazy, right? And I wrote something because she allowed us to go outside. So we actually went into the courtyard and we went in nature, kind of. We weren't in the forest, but we were kind of around nature. We were around the grass, the rocks, and just, listening to the birds and the bees and, seeing nature. And so I remember just writing in my notebook. And afterwards, I turned in my assignment to my teacher and she looked at it, and Sukhavati, she just looked. She kind of paused and she kind of looked. She kind of like squinted her eyes and she looked. And she was like, Jerome, you wrote this? No. I was like, yeah. He was like, this was you? You know? And she was the first one. She was the first one who believed in me, the first one who kindled that inner fire to say, like, wow, I have a desire to be able to express myself the best way I know how with words. And so I fell in love with words. I fell in love with language. So thank you for that question. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, so beautiful. I really love how, the way you also put these words out there. It's not only about beauty and the rhymes, it's also about this innocence and this purity. And yeah, there's always not only the wittiness, it's also this contemplation, this space that opens up through your words. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Do you remember, if you could recall, did you have anybody like that when you were younger that encouraged you in that way, or saw something in you that you might not have seen in yourself?
This is a good question. I I don't know, sometimes my childhood just disappear. I can only see my guru.
Okay, well then when it comes to Amma, you know, the Amma, the hugging saint, when you were with Amma, were there times where she saw something in you or pointed out qualities in you that you hadn't seen in yourself previous?
Yeah, I feel she's always talking to me through other people also, and yeah, nowadays I feel this a lot in my clients, and the people, Instagrammers, and how they reflect me back something beautiful in me, and I'm like, wow, thank you. And sometimes I think it's about receiving. Sometimes when we don't get this in our life, it's because we are not open to receive this appreciation, these words of appreciation. So the exercise, I feel, it's also about opening. Like I open to receive, beautiful words from people. I open to receive compliments from people, and starting from there, from me opening. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were you always so open to receive, or were there times in your life where you were more closed off to that receptivity, to that energy that was coming your way?
Yeah, I think I'm still working on it. I feel everyone who has, some money issues or love issues, it's basically because the left side, the left arm, is not open to receive. Maybe because not feeling worthy enough. Um, Sometimes people, very humble people, right? Like, no, 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 for you, for you, for you. So this also, I felt a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, wow. Even with your clients, like when you started taking clients or you started serving clients, did you begin like when you had to work out like different things, like maybe pricing, or some people do donations and some people, don't like to have something, how did you work that out in the beginning? Was that tricky for you?
Yeah, very tricky because healers and people with gifts like clairvoyance or healers in other cultures like Asia, South America, it's like you must give this that you have, right? So there's not this money culture. So yeah, at the beginning I was doing it for free. Then I started accepting donation, and then one day I was in the mountains in Nepal living with another Buddhist guru. And one day I thought, God, do you think maybe I could make a living out of this gift I have? And that day I remember a Chinese man came in the mountain. There was no one there. We were 4 people. And this Chinese came to me. I was under a tree meditating, and he's like, hey, I heard you're a psychic. Could I get a reading from you? And I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything to do here. I'm just hanging under this tree all the day long. Okay. So I do a session with him, and he's like, I want to give you money. And I'm like, what? No, 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 no. Yes, please accept. And he handed me a $100 note. So I was like, the same day I asked God if I could receive any money from my job. So that was a breakthrough. Still I was doing, through donation, but now accepting money. And yeah, it was, I think, when I came back, then I was living in South America, then coming. It was not only till I arrived to Bali that I feel I'm appreciating myself and my work and working more in my solar plexus. And now, yeah, and it's not about money, to be honest, Jerome, because what I have noticed is when we work with energy, the exchange is deeper. So I have clients, okay, I can charge you $100, but then in the night I have lucid dream and I'm still working with this person. So there's not money to pay this. Like we believe that when we do an exchange is that, but it's not, the exchange is deeper, it's in a soul level. I can agree to $100 to you, but it's deeper, and till we don't finish our agreement, our karmic bonds are not going to release. So it's so deep, this thing about exchanging. It's beyond anything. Yeah.
And with that energy exchange, what do you feel gave you that permission, or how did you give yourself permission to really work from your solar plexus in that way, as you put it?
Oof, I think receiving a lot of validation and also here in Bali, there are many people who overcharge and maybe don't have so much practice, wisdom, or connection. So to see this around was like, wow, maybe I should charge myself more. So there was comparison, comparing me and my work with other people and realizing, wow, I'm not valuing myself enough.
Mm,
And yeah, so but yes, I said before, it's just a game, money,
yeah.
you know, and also seeing that with more lightness. It's just a game.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When the man on the mountain, gave you that $100 note, after you were saying no, you were trying to refuse him, but when he insisted that you have it, how did you feel in that moment?
I didn't know what to do with this money. So in the end, I remember I spent it in an extension of my visa. So it felt like also the divine saying, staying. There's more learning for you here in this country. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Because with people that feel like they have, I don't know if you've heard this term. You've probably heard this, Sukhavati, like blocks, blocks when it comes to abundance, or blocks when it comes to prosperity, or when it comes to wealth in that context. Where do you feel like people block themselves from opening themselves up or feeling like they deserve it?
Mm-hmm. Oof, because there are a lot of misunderstandings and weird belief systems, you know, like spiritual people should either be yogis, you know, and living in a very austere surrounding, or there are other kind of spiritual people who are like these master teachers, you know, and they are living this lush life. So it's about finding the right balance, I feel, and organic growth. Um, y- like what I feel right now, there's so much pressure on money in other countries like the States, and I see this coaching culture and this coaching industry, and it's, yeah, because coaching doesn't mean these people are connected to the divine. They are just worried about development, self
Mm,
development. But doesn't mean there's connection to the source, to the divine.
mm,
So sometimes what I see in here on Instagram is like, wow, this is spooky. This is like not coming from source, from love, from, it's just this rush to make more, 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 more. But about your question, I went out of the road about your question. These blogs, I feel they come from mother and father. When we were children, we didn't receive enough love and words of approval, or, you know, like enough just care and love. So we don't feel we deserve this love. We never receive this love, and you know, we we are not open to receive. Sometimes what we are open to receive is toxic
mm,
because it's what we received when we were kids.
mhm,
So there's a lot of deprogramming to do here about receiving, about saying no, I'm only going to give to myself and to receive beautiful words, beautiful information, beautiful food, beautiful, and working slowly, slowly.
mhm.
Supposedly, I wanted to do questions to you. I don't know
Yeah.
how this
No,
ended up.
I love this. I love that you're letting us know this is real. These are real things that we real things that we deal with, that we start to reveal the more that we feel into the way that we've been raised, our upbringings, like you said, the love that we received or the love that we didn't receive, because with the mental reprogramming, I can definitely resonate, because there were so many things that I observed coming up and heard coming up, different conversations about not having enough money, there not being enough for, to go around. And then when you hear these concepts about it just being energy, and that there's no lack, that there's no scarcity, and that's just a mental reprogramming as well. Did you receive that approval or that acceptance coming up, or and did that factor into you later on having to reprogram certain things?
Yeah, yeah. So now the program is evolving. It's like we are getting the upgrades of the money program.
Mm,
And for me at the moment, there were, you know, ups and downs. Sometimes I felt, okay, I'm not getting what I want, because maybe, you know, my channel is not so pure, or maybe, you know, or maybe the divine doesn't want me to have much money now, because it's the divine maybe now wants me more humble and more like low key and more, and still I have to learn something there, which is also could be true. But now I'm in a moment, I don't think about money. I don't
Hmm.
think, it's like, I know God is providing, I'm doing my work, and my work is, my Spanish account is big, so I get a lot of Spanish clients, and it's like now the divine is telling me, don't even think about this. You know, this is not gonna be a problem anymore.
Hmm.
You are just doing from your heart, and there's not this, I'm not in this coaching culture, you know. I don't want to make 20 zeros in a month or anything like this. This is not something I think about. So I think when you stop thinking about this, about money and about the numbers and about the account and about, suddenly, I mean, you're just flowing. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you remind me of a quote that says something like, you know, the moment that you take your mind away from it, it's almost like it starts chasing you. It starts coming after you when you stop looking for it, you know? The moment you stop seeking it, it starts finding you, you know, when you let go in that way. Because you know, you've spent a lot of time around Amma. You know, like you said, you're the one of the only ones in history who's been able to get like 50 hugs from Amma, you know, when people are standing in line to just get one. So when you talk about humility and the ways that we operate, and different people operate in different ways, what is your perception of Amma and how she perceives money or monetary things? Like, how does Amma operate around that?
Hmm. This is such a good question. Wow, I'm so impressed. Yeah, because you know, there's so many people thinking, you know, guru just will take the money from you, you know, take the money of you. You should never trust on these people. They will use their power to take your money. But actually, what I see and what I have experienced from Amma is, she has an NGO, and she uses all the money that people donate to her, because there are many famous devotees, you know, famous people with a lot of money, just, you know, they see her social work, and they want to give, to donate. So she has a big NGO, and she provides hospitals, clean water, universities. I remember even during the Katrina hurricane, she donated $1 million. So like, she's always, you know, even donating to rich countries. So it's like, um, I see how she lives. You know, she lives like a yogi. She's like, nothing belongs to her. She lives in a little room in the ashram, and normal, you know. And she's actually a billionaire. She's a billionaire. So what she moves is billions. So, wow, it's like how a billionaire can sit with us every day just to talk about love and just to be with us, and also responding our questions. For me, this is so humble. So when I sit next to her, I see all the multi dimensions. Okay, I'm sitting next to someone who is channeling the divine, but I'm also sitting next to a billionaire, you know, and maybe I don't get the chance this, and a billionaire can be like her. A billionaire can be like a philanthropist,
Mm-hmm.
and just spending all her day just, you know, showing love. So
Mm-hmm.
it's another archetype of a billionaire, and I definitely, I feel inspired by her, like how to be humble, but at the same time not having any kind of blocks, and just, and I think in the Bible, Quran, even my guru says that we should give 10% of our income for charity or for helping someone that we know, because this allows the abundance to flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know, that is so interesting, Sukhavati, because just like you said, you know, like a billionaire doesn't have to look like Bill Gates, or doesn't have to look like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or the traditional billionaires that we see in society, you know, that are televised billionaires, but they can be like Amma, you know, just like you said, just sitting there, you know, surrounded by people, but not possessing so many different material things. There's a saying, if you've heard this, like the one who possesses little or nothing at all possesses everything, you know? They possess everything. Like the less you have, the more you have in some capacity. You know, less is more. That certainly seems to be the case. You know? Yeah.
But this also, I doubt, is tricky, this sentence, because there are people who have very little, but they're like very like,
Mm-hmm.
this is the little thing I have, I cannot share.
Right.
You know, so the
Right.
ways the mind operates, it's so weird. And then there are people who have a lot and they are giving. And it's also, I have noticed that sometimes we don't want to have a lot because then there's a lot of responsibility to share. Because if you're spiritual, the more you have, the more you should share. But it's so beautiful if you have a big house and a lot of food and you can invite all the people you know to eat with you and to be around you. So it's also very good to have abundance, right? You can create spaces, like sacred spaces where people can come to sing, to share, to talk, to connect, to you can create, you know, now let's give money to this organization. We go there and we meet these children and we do this. So money also requires a lot of time and energy to move this energy. Otherwise, it gets stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how to be ready for that. So that's something I ask to myself. The more I have, the more responsibility and what to do with this in order to not to get stagnant. Yeah.
Very true. You know, it's like with great power comes great responsibility, you know? And when you have that responsibility, and it's almost like, you know, in those instances, and as well, I'd love to actually like learn more about this because, like you said, these are tricky scenarios when we get into like, okay, what does it mean to be humble, you know? And you remind me actually of one of the people that I spent a little bit of time with, Sayado, and he is of the Barwa. And so these were the monks and nuns that I went to from Myanmar, from Burma, and they taught me about impermanence, nature, reasons why we suffer. But he makes so much, but it's all from the donation that people give him, you know, that he takes in. So there was one time they had me, Sukhavati, I was staying in Lake Elsinore in one of their properties. You know, they just had me in this 3-story home all by myself, you know, just meditating. But it was it was on this mountain overlooking this huge lake. And they told me a story about, you know, on this big old property that they would take people in, you know, to encourage them to come meditate and practice. And a couple came in and they took a whole bunch of his electronics. They took different things from the place and they robbed him, they burglarized him, right? But when they told him about what happened, you know, that all these things were taken, stolen, do you know what he said? He,
What
he
he
said,
said.
he said, no, they're not taking from me. You know, they could have it. Obviously, they need it more than I do. Like he turned their theft into a donation. He gave it to them.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
so it was like he was able to let it go so effortlessly. In fact, the property that I stayed in, which was like, I don't know how much that property was worth, but it was given to him as a donation, you know? So it was like you say, with Amma, like everything's coming in and she's allowing that to flow, you know?
Yes, yes. This is beautiful, but I also question to myself this because sometimes I in my life something gets stolen and I'm like donation, karma, you know, I'm just clearing some old karma. Oh, this is donation. But then I'm like, no, you know, I should care more about the things I have. So
Mm.
now I'm changing this belief system I had about donation, and I'm like, no, this is so I need to care about things. I need to care. I need to put some love here, some motherly love. Okay, why this is appear? This is not good. So now I think I'm yeah, stepping into another layer of what it means to own. No, and we have to care about things. I think because as spiritual people, sometimes we're very hippie, you know, we're just flowing, we're just yeah.
Yeah. Is there a place for that? You know, the flowing nature, you know, of like kind of like air, you know, is there a place for air as well?
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I think like now we are turning into this Aquarian age, which is quite scary, you know, for identity, because you know we have been building our identity for so long, and suddenly when we are part of this grid, everyone knows what you're doing, but not in a Leo way. It's not like they're like, wow, you are so shiny. No, when you are part of the grid, it's like everyone is shining. We are the grid, and you don't have secrets actually, because we know it's a grid of information. We are super connected. And money is the same. Money is like we are all the same, you know. It's like, wow, we are just at the beginning of this Aquarian age. We don't know how this is gonna develop, but definitely I feel we need this balance between Leo energy and Aquarian energy, between having solo time, playing the flute and making poetry, and having these great moments of fusion, merging, and not knowing where are the boundaries between you and me, right? Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And with the intention of like using the energy that flows to you, with that intention of using it for the purpose that Amma was telling you about, you know, charity and giving and doing things for other people. Do you feel like when you have that intention that something conspires to assist you in achieving that intention?
Yes, that's what if this I forgot. You know, online when people put "please help me" and they create a campaign, and so I think this is also an expression of this idea. No, of I'm doing a, and actually I think God put you the thought of doing that. So yeah, it's not even that. If the thought came from your ego, then it won't work. But if the thought came from something higher, of course everything is gonna open for you.
Okay. So you say the thought comes from God, like God gives you the thought to use it as a force for the collective, you know? Okay. Okay. For a higher purpose. So
For
like
a
that
higher purpose.
so the higher purpose comes from the higher self, or like a higher force or a higher source giving you
Mhm.
that?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I would think so. Like if the thought comes from your ego because you want to be, you know, uh, honor in your community, or you want to be, you know, someone in your community, maybe it doesn't work. But if you, wow, I'm just feeling I have to do this, you know, it's like a knowing. It's beyond your identity, it's beyond your ego, it's beyond yourself. So it's like, wow, for sure the paths are going to open for you to do that. Yeah.
Wow, wow. What was something that you felt like, you know what? I don't care if I never do anything else, I have to do this. Like what was something that gave you that feeling within you like I have to, you know?
Oh, this is so difficult question. I don't know. I don't know. Mm, I think I still haven't done anything like this. Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah,
even with your like your passion when it comes to light language, do you feel like
yeah.
that's that, or is that something different?
Yes, yes. I feel I'm always sharing an expression of myself, but it's a creativity, right? It's like I'm just sharing my creative flow with love, no? But yeah, I really feel like language supports a lot of people. I have seen so many people blooming in their expression. Beyond if you believe this is a language or not, they bloom. They suddenly unblock their throat chakra, their sacral chakra, and they start having, you know, making art and being free and singing. So for me to see people free, it's like, wow, so rewarding, so nice.
Yeah.
So if I could help them with that, yeah. I also feel like I put some seeds of innocence, innocence, like people see me and they are like, maybe I can also be innocent, you know, and trust in the universe and trust in God. And maybe that's not a crazy idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also you unlock and you activate light language in others, you know?
Yeah.
So with these flowers like blossoming and blooming and these flowers flourishing around you, what have you found that when people are sometimes nervous to kind of go into their inner child or their creativity or their imagination and embrace the light language in a completely new way, what have you found kind of gets people away from that nervousness that might take them over at first, you know, doing something that sounds unfamiliar to them. Like they might not feel like they're saying anything.
Yeah, so first I like I see people feel more comfortable moving hands than speaking,
Mhm.
because many people have deep blocks in their throat chakra. Maybe they were witches in past life and they were like, killed for saying their truth, so, or slaves. So many people have past life blocks in the throat chakra. So I see sometimes with movement, it's a bit easier. So I invite them to close their eyes and just visualize with their intuition lights that they can move with their fingers.
Mhm.
So they can draw lights with their fingers.
Mhm.
And, so they start moving. And many people, they have done this already in ceremonies, suddenly the hands start doing some weird mudras. And so they remember, I think I have moved my hands uh, unconsciously before without using my mind. So the whole trip is about not using your mind, which is very difficult. So first they do hands, then I say, just say something like shiverish. So they start like, but then, when you create a safe space, people can be playful. So they start being playful. And then at some point they are like, "Aha, no more kuera, tehe kokore tayo no kua." And it's so beautiful for me because each person has very specific light language, and I can recognize now the difference. And wow, it's like so unique, so specific.
Mhm.
It's real, and the vibration shift around them, and there's new light around them. It's the cosmic memory of their soul remembering to be in other planets, to be in other realities. So it's
Mhm.
like a new light. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. Like, I love that you do that. They say that when you shine, it's almost like you give others permission to shine as well. You know, when they see themselves in that capacity, able to do something and able to really stretch themselves in a unique way. When you see them open themselves up to light language, how do you feel that you receive it? Do you receive it as something that you can interpret with, well, not the mental mind, but with your heart? Like, how are you hearing somebody's light language or feeling their light language?
It's very emotional for me because it's I can see the soul, I can see how they shift their faces. I'm a clairvoyant, so suddenly they are in their avatar. And normally when they speak like language, imagine if someone was very connected to Lemuria, they will start speaking Lemurian. It doesn't mean they are Lemurian. It's like that lifetime was very important for them. So then they started speaking Lemurian, and the beautiful thing about like language is like they start sharing everything that happened there. So there's a lot of history information. There's a lot of their own trip in Lemuria. There's the landscapes. I can start seeing the landscapes around them, how they're showing to me. So wow, so emotional, so exciting. And also many people, when they started speaking like language, they start like, oh my God, I have been repressing this information for so long, and finally my soul can express.
Mm.
So many people, yeah, like, so I can see them also in their, maybe in Orion, when there was a war, and how they were hiding and how they were suffering. So, it's like everything. It's like, for example, when someone who doesn't dance start dancing.
Mhm.
So they start dancing, but they start understanding why they didn't dance before. Probably because there was trauma, right? So the
Mhm.
same happened in light language. When they started speaking in light language, they start realizing, wow, why I have been hiding my light language for so long. Because
Mhm.
where I coming from, there was conflict, or maybe, so it's like very emotional for everyone when they start opening light languages, like opening too many doors in 1 second. But so beautiful when I see everyone with their avatar bodies, and it's like, wow, we are really from all the galaxy just playing here.
My gosh. Wow. The way you say it, Sukhavati, it sounds so healing, you know? Like that's healing. You're healing so many parts of yourself, so many versions, and even things that you never even perceive, or you hadn't perceived. Like, it's like going back, but also going forward. It's like if time is not here, you're tapping into. That's amazing. That's amazing. So they're able to express themselves in ways that is, like you said, it's very emotional, you know, it's very heart-centered, but it's also an awakening of a part of themselves that maybe they didn't even know that they had, you know, giving themselves
Yeah.
permission in that way. Wow. Wow.
Uh,
Oh my God. And
it's
everybody has that, you would say?
Yes, everyone has their own light language. Yeah, it's a vibration, and it's so healing because I speak light language all the day long, and in those moments I'm not in my mind, so it's so healing not to be in the mind, just to be in the frequency, in the vibration, and all this the judge we have inside is dying each time you speak light language. There's no judgment, and the more you allow yourself to be in this playful energy, in this authentic uh, connection with your soul, with your spirit, without judgment, without, because when we speak a language, we mimic expressions and words we have heard. We are trying to adjust our being to a structure. In light language there's not a structure, so it's like fully free. And actually many people, when we speak light language, sometimes we start singing, sometimes we start whistling. And it's so free. So yeah, this in English wouldn't be possible. They would just take you to the hospital.
Oh no, I feel like you know, this makes me feel like English really is limited, you know, in that capacity. There's a lot of limitation when it comes to the English language, whereas light language doesn't seem to have those limitations, you know? You're really opening yourself up to the limitlessness of who you are, like the boundlessness, the endlessness, you know? And oh my goodness, you know, this makes me want to venture in further, since, you know, I do have a love for language. It makes me want to really go into those parts of myself to see what might be lying there, you know, undiscovered or you know, that hasn't been uncovered, you know, for so long. You're inspiring me, you know. Thank you.
But please, we need your medicine also. Don't start now only doing videos in light language.
No,
We need your medicine.
what well, you know, being a clairvoyant, Sukhavati, were there ever times where you didn't see your clairvoyance as a blessing? Were there times where you saw it maybe as a curse or a burden instead of a blessing?
um, I think when I was a kid, it was scary. It was scary. I remember the first ghost I saw. I had like 4 or 5 years, and I said, "Mom, look, there's a very white, transparent woman sitting here in front of me," and they didn't believe me, and it was really intense. And then, yeah, and then during my teenage years, it went a bit dark because I was going through the night of the soul, so the spirits I was seeing were dark, so I was scared. And yeah, it's not easy when you see. And now I'm grateful I could do that, and I hope now we encourage children to see beyond the veils, and we are supportive. And yeah, but yeah, it's difficult when you're growing up and you don't have anyone to tell you it's okay. I believe you. It's okay. Yeah.
Right, right. But there are a lot of children that see things at young ages and they're kind of discouraged. They're kind of shut down, you know, from, would you say that those are abilities or gifts or talents, or like what would you call that?
It's our nature.
Are just our nature, you know?
Yeah.
So what people think is like a gift, or what people think is an ability or something that you gained or acquired, you're saying it's actually within all of us. We actually, this is our nature.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
I know we all can see beyond the veils. I know we can all hear beyond the veils. Yes, but we don't feel safe enough to open up.
okay. So it's the feeling of safety, security that blocks us from opening up in that way. And is it like an opening of the subconscious, or what are we opening to see beyond the veil?
Yes. Well, I mean, we are in Kali Yuga, and we have been programmed to be very controlled. You live in this building, you go to this other building to work. So when you are so free, when you realize, wow, I can see, I can feel when is the right moment for me to go here, and wow, there's not, no one can control you actually, because you are fully connected, you're fully in your gifts, and it's like you're flowing, you know, there's no fear around. So when we are awakened, we are very difficult to control by the, you know, the government. So I think that's why there's so many mechanisms to restrict our awakening, through the chemicals they put in our food, through you know, the information in the mass media. They don't want us to awaken, for sure.
Okay. Okay. When you said that your parents, you know, they weren't able to see what you saw, you know, you were able to see spirits or see ghosts or see, you know, things in front of you that they couldn't see. Do you feel like some people aren't ready to see what's beyond the veil?
Yes, some people are ready and some people are not. When you are ready, you see. Yes, yes, that's true. But my parents, to be honest, they were quite, in their own way, supportive, because they are both very intuitive. My mother, yeah, she believes in the divine, in God, and my father has always like premonitions through his dreams, and he's very intuitive. He can also read your energy. So even though they have very like official jobs, they are both quite open. So I know why I was born from them, because they are quite like yeah.
Yeah. You had a wonderful experience that you told us about last time that we spoke together. And it was a telepathic union, you know?
Mm.
It was a telepathic link that you had with people in so many different countries and continents. And it was so unique. And they told you about the show, you know, Sense 8, where you were tapped into people. When it comes to telepathy, since you say that we all, it's in our nature that we can see beyond the veil, it would seem to be that it's in our nature to be telepathic.
This is an interesting question, Jerome, because I have connected now with many friends, mainly women. The women have this third eye more open than men, because, you know, we have electric chakras and magnetic chakras. So imagine, women have this chakra electric, whereas the man has magnetic.
Mm.
For you, it's magnetic. But for you, the crown chakra is electric, and for us, it's magnetic. So this gives us different capacities. And anyways, I have many women friends, and they are very intuitive and very telepathic and very clairvoyant. So sometimes I remember one close friend, and she's reading my mind. Like, I'm driving her, and while I'm driving, I'm having a telepathic conversation with her. And I feel very uncomfortable, because in not any moment she asked me, can I have a telepathic conversation with you? She just did it. So we were doing it, and I'm like driving, and I'm like, wow, this is so intense for me. So one day I told her, hey, you know, I feel it's very invasive, in my opinion, what you do. You know, you enter in my mind, you talk with me, you read, you know, and this is too much for me. I'm an earth sign. You know. And I asked her if she doesn't think this is invasive, because I feel it's a bit invasive. And she said, well, I was born like this. I have been doing all my life this. This is my nature, she told me. I'm like, wow, that's true, you know, but we are not used to this. We are not used to this level of engagement and transparency, because
Mhm.
it's about transparency. It's, wow, intense.
Whoa. So, okay. So walk us through Sukhavati, because you said you were in the car with her and you said, first of all, you said she read your mind. What do you mean she read your mind? Like she knew exactly what you were thinking?
Yes, with her, all our friendship is like this. She knows where you are, and she starts talking about this, and then, you know, it's, and then you just start telepathically talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are many, you know, we have been witches in many lifetimes.
so you
Yeah.
you could actually talk to her without using your mouth. Like you didn't have to open your mouth. You both were speaking to each other. Wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. Oh my God. So how would somebody, if this is in our nature, and like you said, that was her nature, she didn't know how to do any different, like that was just how she was, how would somebody turn on their telepathy or open that up? You know, what would you advise for somebody to do that?
Yes. I wouldn't advise to start from there. Like, so sometimes in these years I have offer workshops to awaken the extrasensorial senses. That's how I call it. But for me, it's better that it's organic. Like nowadays, there are many people awakening the Kundalini, and suddenly they have this openness in their senses. But for me, it's better when it's organic, because it means you are ready for this. And also, I will start like opening the heart for sure, because here in our society we have a lot of mental problems. We overthink and we think negative, and there's so many entities and thought forms around our head. So if you try try to see what other people is thinking, like it's more activity here, whereas we want more activity here. So I will advise people just thinking to the divine, just connect with the heart chakra, with the animals, hugging, more like that, and then telepathy will come.
Okay.
But because of opening your heart. Yeah.
So don't focus on the head space, focus on the heart space,
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because it sounds like what you're saying is, it's almost like a be careful what you wish for scenario. Like if you open something when you're not ready, or you shouldn't be opening it at that point in time, then the focus could lead you elsewhere, It sounds like, or it could be used maliciously or used with malintent,
Yes, yes. Like my friend would say, but why you don't like this? I'm just seeing you as you are. I'm like, yeah, but I have my thoughts. I want my thoughts to be private. But you don't never think something wrong, Sukhavati. Whatever, it's my thoughts, it's my way of thinking. Don't go in. So yeah, I think for me, I like to respect people's energy and not to go unless they ask me, because I think that's also like a negative side of the healers. Healers want to be healing full on. Well, there are some people who have their process, and the process is needed for them to evolve, and we don't have to intervene all the time. So it's this balance between being very Zen and Buddhist and non-reactive, and being also proactive. And okay, if someone asks you, you can interact and can help.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's really great to like be able to find that balance, the non-reactive, but be able to respond, to respect people's privacy, to not invade them, because it felt like you were naked in front of her, like you were just bare. She was just seeing all in there. She was able to see your innermost, everything, and that can definitely feel very scary. It could feel very uncomfortable. Like, why are you in my mind? We see these things in movies, and we don't think that it's here. It's real. Like, this is real. So respect people's innermost space. And I'd love to learn as well. Earlier, you put on your story that there was one client that in like the last 6 years was one of the most difficult, of your clients. I only saw a snippet of your story, but how were you able to make it through that and still maintain your zen and still be able to respond in the way that you do?
Yes. So it was very interesting because just right before, I have a Kali image and I pray a lot to Kali. And Kali, she always show us our shadow, our fears, and help us to transform this into love. So I was just, before she came late, so I was just meditating, looking at Kali, Kali, Kali. And of course, the most Kali client came. So she was like so non-believer. She's like, she entered into the door, she just lay down and she's like, I don't believe in meditation. I don't believe in, mantra chanting. I don't believe in anything. I have done everything. Imagine. So she feels she have done everything in the last 2 years. 2 years is very little. In the last 2 years. So I know this is not working because my life is shaking. My life is falling. So nothing works. Oh wow, whatever I will say, she will react to it laughing or like, yeah, I already tried that. Yeah, I already tried that. Yeah, I already tried that. Wow. So it's not about what you try or what you do. It's like from where you do these things, you know. And if you do it from a non-believer situation, better not to do anything. But if you are doing from, I have no idea what to do in this situation, I surrender. I surrender to whatever is there. I surrender. I think this is the only place, surrendering, where you can get the healing from. When you surrender, when you open to the divine and you say, I have no idea, I don't know. I'll just try to do this. I will do this grounding every morning to see if something shifts. But from this humbleness. Otherwise, yeah, we cannot go forward.
Wow, such a lesson. What a lesson, you know? That sounds like the difference in devotion. You know, what you told us last time, you told us this about devotion, to be devoted, to surrender, to let go, to just give yourself over completely, you know, to trust, to have faith. These are things that are like out of that mental mind where we try to rationalize or where we try to be logical about things and say, oh, I already tried that. Oh, I already did that. I already did that. But you're like, no, what did you completely, you know, completely give yourself to something and trust that it would, you know, have an effect. That's interesting. That's so amazing. Wow. Well, and did it end up with you and the client? Like, how did it end up?
Well, no good. No good. Yeah, because I did everything that I was meant to do, and then by the end, she said still blah blah blah, and I'm like, I feel what you need is love, you know, because by the end she said, I don't believe in God. I feel we can like something, we can like someone, but love doesn't exist. It's an illusion. Wow. And you know, I feel most of the people on this planet have never experienced true love. This is a fact, you know, and that's our sickness, our disease in this planet. We haven't experienced true love. So this is the core of our problem in our society. This is the core of our disease, our sickness. We haven't experienced true love. So, okay, I explained her, look, I have experienced true love. You know, I'm going to tell you, you know, this is the best that happened in my life. I met this lady here, you know, and she gives and gives and gives, and she doesn't expect anything in return. And when I'm in her aura, I feel totally, fully accepted, fully loved. I feel the magic of being alive. I feel the multidimensionality of my being. I'm beyond this skin. I'm a ball of light. And she's like, not believing this. So I said, can I just hug you? Would you allow me to hug you? But you know, wow, this is a lot of exercise for me, because for 2 hours holding the space for someone being so childish, you know, in her ego. No, 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 no. I say, okay, hug. And then I'm hugging and she's like, oh, she's resisting this hug. I'm seeing her thoughts. Also, she's like, oh, this Ubuddian, you know, she's just like all these hippies hugging you for ages. You know why this hug is taking so long? I want to get out of this hug. So I'm seeing all her reaction, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I let her go. And yeah. Really, for me, it's like her ego just wanted to prove that nothing works. So she even tried. So there's part of her soul that wants to keep trying, because you know there's need, there's a feeling helpless, you know, like I need help. But then at the same time, she's not wanting to be helped. So this is what happened also in our life. We are so desperate for something. I want money, I want love, I want, you know, we have this need. But at the same time, when true medicine come to our life, we're like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for the medicine. So it's like, hey, be honest with yourself. Do you want the medicine or you don't want the medicine? And open for it. Don't waste your time. Yeah.
Be honest, you know, be honest with yourself, you know, at least with yourself, you know, that's healing, because it seemed like you illustrated in that example with that client, you know, having someone that you feel is like, oh, wow, this is really challenging. You know, I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to let them know that there is such a thing as true love. You know, I've experienced this. And you said that they were being childish, but it seems like you were being childlike. You know, there's a difference. You know, there's between being childish and being childlike. You know, like like a child. You just hugged her and you embraced her, you held her, you know, in that moment. And oh man, you know, how healing is that, just to be held, that no words need to be spoken. You know, sometimes it's like there's really not much that we can say.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I wonder also, I have a question for you because I know you have had pranic experiences, and I'm sure this might for sure open your heart and your senses also. So maybe you could share something about this journey,
Mhm.
how this opening is opening for you.
Yeah. And what way specifically do you want me to share? Like from the very beginning, or what did you want to?
Yes.
What did you,
How do you feel to be pranic has shifted the way you see reality and you experience reality?
Hmm. You know, and it's interesting when you say to be pranic. I feel like it's more of a journey and not much of a destination. It's not like, oh, I'm pranic now, you know, oh, I'm breatharian now, oh, I'm this now. I don't feel that way. I feel like it's a continuous learning. It's a continuous opening myself up more and more and more. Just like we're doing, like you said, with your love, with your heart, you know, opening yourself more and more. So it's almost like the more that I started letting go, the more I started letting in. You know, the more I let go, the more light came in. And it seems to be that on every level. You know, I started with material things. We were talking about material possession. And I started letting go of the movies I wasn't watching, the video games I wasn't playing, the clothes I wasn't wearing, you know, the books I wasn't reading. And when I let go of these boxes and boxes and just saw them as energy, saw everything as energy, so much energy started to come into my life, you
Wow.
know, I in the form of encounters, conversations, people, messages, opportunities, events, outcomes, situations. Everything started to flow the more I let things go. And so then it became almost like a game. You know, like you said, this is a whole game here. I was like, well, what else can I let go? You know, what else can I remove? You know, if this is what's happening here, what else can happen? So I started to look and find out, and that led me to this journey. So thank you for that question. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder because in a process so deep, about letting go, you're pranic, you're basically, yeah, you are like emptying your cup, but filling up with something so ethereal,
Mm,
so light. But on the other side, we are in a very materialistic world,
right.
very tangible, very
Right.
3D. So I'm sure this is very challenging. How can you be fed of something so ethereal and your life so ethereal, conversations, words, messages, you're valuing something really ethereal? How you then can operate in the 3D?
Yes. So you said that you're an earth sign. Did you say you're an earth sign?
Yeah.
Which earth sign?
Virgo.
Virgo, right? The Virgin. Okay, Virgo. So for me, I'm a Scorpio, but I'm also an Aquarius and I'm also a Leo. So I have
Yeah.
the water, the air, and the fire, right? So there's been times where since I don't have that earth, you know, I've needed to find it in other ways. And certain things do ground me. And certain things do kind of bring me to a level where I can have a conversation, where I can be able to talk to people, even people who are more dense or living where I was heavily, I had those kind of propensities. Now I can engage and I can interact with people when I understand how to come down and how to ground, you know, just to be on that frequency, you know.
Mhm.
Whereas there were times where I was completely dry, you know, nothing coming in, nothing going out. And being completely dry, I almost felt too high. Like I was way up
Wow.
there and I couldn't almost engage because people just didn't understand. And even I thought I was going crazy, you know, being surrounded by people who were, you know, just engaging in everything that I used to. I thought, like, am I going crazy here? Like, am I the only one that knows this? So that feeling of like, am I alone? You know,
Mm.
I had to deal with that. And now this is a wonderful time because in this technology age, in this internet age, we're connecting with light beings. You know, we're connecting with people who get it, you know? And you get it. You're giving us a light transmission. Every time you speak, I feel like I'm expanded. I feel like I'm learning more, you know? So that
Wow.
feeds me. So that's a form of nourishment
Yes.
that I stay plugged into to be an outlet as well, but to allow that to come inside. Thank you.
Mhm. Wow. Thank you. And because you were talking before about money and abundance, how someone who, you don't need much money if we spend most of our money in food and housing. So if you are more pranic and you are more ethereal and you actually don't have these basic needs, then how is your connection with money?
Hmm. Great question. Great question, Sukhavati. So I enjoy memories, creating memories, creating meaningful experiences. I enjoy using that flow, that currency, the currency that's flowing towards you with over those streams when they come to me. I enjoy using them to travel, to go to other places, to meet people. So when I was talking to people the way that we're talking now, then I was like, okay, well, I want to go see these people. Then I got invited to
Yes,
see these people, right? Then when I found
yes,
myself in those countries, now I can go see them in the physical. Now we can hold each other, we can hug each other, we can have those memories, those conversations. And if I was focused so much on the material, I don't feel like I would make as many of those memories,
mm,
those memories wouldn't be as much if I had all this material holding me down. So there's been times where I had a friend call me up and like, hey, I'm about to go on a road trip, around the whole US. Like we're gonna go for 2 weeks around the whole country. I was able to do it, like that because I had everything that I own in one bag, a carry-on. So we were able to pick up and go. Whereas if I had everything that I used to have, it would be a lot. I'd be worried about, well, let me pack this, let me pack that, or how am I gonna stuff this in there? All I had was one bag, you know. So
yes,
I travel. When you travel light, it you get. Well, I personally I get to see a lot more when I'm not worried about so much. I get to see a lot more, so it helps.
yes. So beautiful because this show us that what you value most is connections.
Right.
So, and I actually feel we all crave for connections, but we haven't realized we are entertained with our spiritual practices, with our things, with our work, and actually, what we came here to experience is this sharing love in movement, love in motion, this sharing, this connecting. So, wow, it's so beautiful that when you are so light and yes, you can just be open anytime, ready for connecting, for exploring, connecting with the land, not only with people, and connecting with, it's about these connections.
Right.
So, yeah, very
Right.
beautiful.
And it also helped with, as you were saying before, with that humility. You know, there was a time that I was very concerned with the way that I looked, with my appearance, in terms of like I had several bow ties, several suits. I was buttoned up. Like very business. You know, and then I got into the rhythm of wearing the same things over and over again, and that kind of started to go down. That mind of like, oh, they gonna say something because I'm wearing what I was wearing yesterday, or is somebody gonna judge me? That judgment started to go out the window, and it freed me. It freed up, and it let me know that a lot of people don't care as much as you think they do about the way that you look. A lot of times it's us. It's
Yes,
us who
yes,
care about that as much. So it gave me more resources to devote myself to be in service because I wasn't so much worried about that perception. So thank you for actually that recollection. So you're reminding me. Wow.
yes. And I found sometimes because it's so beautiful to connect with people, but let's not forget there are entities and there are like thought forms, and sometimes people project their perception of you in your aura. So if I see, and then more people start projecting the same perception on you, so suddenly you are confused because wow, if these people perceive this from me and this from me and this from me, maybe I am that. but
Mm,
you are not. So for me, it's been very healing to spend time in nature, because nature truly doesn't judge, doesn't have any perception on you. It's just existence vibing, is the vibration. So sometimes, I cannot, to be honest, I cannot be this Aquarian energy all the time. Like, I cannot be going to dance every day. I cannot, because I feel also all the insecurities of people, and how they feed from each other, just being a bit mean or a bit, no. Wow. Oof, when we are with nature, like, all these layers of density and insecurity and misunderstanding and confusion, they fade away, and it's like you can be naked in nature, you can be just yourself, and nature is gonna embrace you.
yeah,
So this balance, right, between the grit and the connections, and this healing energy. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for
Thank
asking
you.
such questions, and just thank you for having this space available for people to have these conversations. This is so nourishing. So we need more.
We need more, yes. We should get this regular.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
I don't know if people have any questions. Let's see, because uh, mm, I
Uh,
like everyone was very active.
yeah, they were speaking with each other. They were having their own dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank y'all for joining. Much love.
yeah. Uh, Here someone says, I refuse to think I'm a witch in any lifetime. The Bible teaches telepathy is bad. How is it we are sensitive to certain things?
Mm.
Mm, this is wow, it's bringing whew, a lot of energy.
What would you
Uh,
answer? What would you answer to that?
I feel the Bible is constructed, it's a construction. It's not like Jesus came and said, here is the Bible.
Mm.
He didn't do that. He didn't. The Bible is a construction of people who follow him, people who wanted to share something to control what it was shared about Jesus, and before Jesus, right? The the five first books. So this is not pure energy. This is something constructed after
Mm.
he died, after he passed away. So I'm sure, Jesus was in full like connection. He was performing miracles. I don't think he thought telepathy is a thing. He was even moving the ocean. He was performing his all powers, and his nature is our nature to be like that, to be fully free, open, awakened, and to use it for, good purpose.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Would you like to share something else just before finishing?
Oh, just, I'm glad that we, in this time, in this age, that we're able to do this, because at the touch of a button, you can touch someone's life, you know? And even though you don't need the technology to do that, but I love that people are able to receive the energy that we emit, the energy that we put out, the energy that we transmit. They're able to receive that and pass that on to someone else. So I enjoy being a conduit, and I love how you're a channel, for this. You're letting it stream through, and it's coming through you, it's flowing through you, and it's flowing to us. And I trust that, we'll just continue to continue expanding and see where we go from here, you know? We never know. We never know. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, this is so beautiful, because this is light work.
Right.
We are also bringing light to this channel that, wow, is so intense sometimes. Instagram, the same in crypto. So many light workers are into crypto, and I'm like, we have to be everywhere. We have to be everywhere. Just go and put some light wherever you don't like. For example, if you don't like a place, don't reject it or don't run away from it. Bring your light there. Bring it there. Infuse that place with this light. So I think it's very beautiful. We are doing these lightful conversations.
Yes. 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 Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so.
you.
Okay.
All right. Well, you take care. Let's, if you want to make it a thing, we can make it a thing, you know? Yeah,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
more. It seems like there's a lot more to explore. Yeah.
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 I love how you are also channeling and I'm channeling and we are. It's so much fun. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. All right. Well, did you want to just one more time before we leave? If anybody is coming here from my channel and sees you, this is their first time seeing you, would you just briefly let people know where they can receive your services? Hmm.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I do energy clearing of entities, cores, things, packs, contracts, and also I do channeling of guidance. And I do something called vortex healing, which is energy healing that goes inside the organs and the body. If people have, some physical pain or emotional pain, this is really powerful energy work. And I also do astrology readings. I love astrology. Yeah. So yes, they can just DM me and ask me for these sessions. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think I'm actually gonna DM you later on something about light language because you really inspire me right now with the light language. I think it's something
Wow.
that I should tap into, But not like you said before, but just for myself, just a personal thing.
Yes. Yes. Actually, I'm have a light language course coming up. It's 6 weeks. So during 6 weeks, we are exploring light language. So
Awesome.
we explore drawing, speaking, singing, channeling, using light language for healing our chakras. So it's really powerful. So soon I will put all the flyers out.
Okay.
So I would love you to join, of course.
Beautiful, beautiful. We'll have to join. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Sukhavati. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
How do you say the Balinese
Ah,
goodbye?
I don't know. I would say just Paggy or bye bye.
Okay, Baggy.
Paggy.
Baggy, take care. Take care.
Bye.